you must have also seen that as the budget speech was rolling out, various sectors in the markets were responding to the proposals. The one that stood out in the green was the FMCG sector. And taking it from there, what is in it for the budget to support consumption? Because that has also been a consistent macro theme for discussions in the run up to this exercise.
So what was very clear to me from the budget was that there is no explicit attempt to drive consumption. The the reason why I think that consumption stocks started to do better. I mean, some of them are also reporting results, but point being that the in some sectors, like say in cigarettes, there was not. There was no hike in excise duties. The drop in the import duties on gold and silver helped the jewelry manufacturers. So there were specific things that changed in the budget, which of course helped those specific stocks. But otherwise, I think the boost to consumption was more indirect. So if the government creates more jobs, or if the government's policies help create more jobs, that boosts incomes. There is some income tax cuts, about 29,000 crores, because the lower income segments are going to be bigger beneficiaries as the tax slabs have been bumped up. So from 5,000 to 17,500 rupees per taxpayer. The larger number of income taxpayers are at the lower middle income level. So the assumption is that some of this will flow through. But frankly, in the context of a 325 trillion rupee economy, a 0.1% change is not something that can meaningfully impact consumption in some of these sectors. I think the overall sector doing well was largely due to the sector-specific factors that affected some of those.
Neelkanth, one of the other features that's been sort of read from this budget announcement is that the government is also addressing concerns from the ground, the feedback that they got from the Lok Sabha elections, and possibly what they anticipate in the forthcoming state assembly elections. Has the Modi government sort of had a change in strategy broadly when it comes to welfare measures and spending? Because the Congress party has also said that some proposals from its manifesto have been borrowed. For example, the apprenticeship scheme. Has Modi 3.0 changed gears in any manner on that particular account?
Which was the signal that most of us were looking for in the budget, because while there can be specific proposals that can be implemented, and I think it should be encouraging that the government is open to new ideas, but the big picture that there is no space for the scale of income transfers that were proposed in some of the budgets in opposition party manifestos, that there is no space for that. And the fact that the government stayed clear, in fact, if you stayed clear of fiscal handouts, if you see the difference between the vote on account and the budget that was presented, I think the increases in expenditure were about, as I said, 10,000 crores for the price stabilization fund, about 10,000 crores for the employment-linked incentives, and about 9,000 crores for hiring people in Jammu, the police in the Jammu and Kashmir. But beyond that, the subsidy numbers were unchanged, the Narega numbers were unchanged. So most of the things were more or less the same. In fact, total spending on infrastructure also remained the same. So there was not that much. There will be political messaging, frankly. Politicians need to do that, and they'll keep doing that. But from a pure macro perspective, I didn't see any change in stance. In fact, what I have observed and written about is that there's been a surge in income transfer schemes to women over the last 4 years. So they started with Andhra, Ammavadi scheme in 2020, then Assam, and then West Bengal, and then Tamil Nadu, and then Telangana, and MP, and now Maharashtra. So 10 states of India have implemented some of these schemes. The total expenditure now annualized is 1.8 lakh crores, 1.8 trillion rupees, 0.6% of GDP. So in the context of these kind of handouts, I think the government, perhaps central government, didn't need to do any more. But also, I think it's very cognizant of the fact that debt to GDP is still very high. The process of bringing that down to acceptable levels is a prolonged one. You need to have a very sustained and it's kind of painful process of slowly bringing down the fiscal deficit. You can't bring it down too fast. If you do that, you end up slowing the economy. But if you have to bring it down in a sustained way, steady way, and you need to improve quality of expenditure. And the measurement of quality is for how many years is it going to affect growth. So if you hand out money, it affects growth for 1 year, and then the impact starts to fade away. If you spend it on infrastructure in the first year, the spend on infrastructure creates jobs and demand, and then the productivity boost that infrastructure provides also then supports activity in subsequent years. So I think this whole process means that the government didn't have scope or didn't have room to do a lot of fiscal handouts. And so, frankly, I don't see that policy shift happening at all. In fact, the government is staying put on its objective of bringing down cost of capital and shrinking the government's footprint on the economy.